On May 11th each year, India commemorates National Technology Day to honor one of its most defining moments in scientific and strategic achievement, Pokhran 2, also known as Operation Shakti. Conducted in 1998, this series of nuclear tests at the Pokhran Test Range in Rajasthan marked India's emergence as a full-fledged nuclear power, demonstrating both technological excellence and national resolve. And in present scenario, India has launched Operation Sindoor as a counter-attack to the deadly terrorist attack which took place on 22nd of April in the name of Pahalgaon terror attack, where 26 civilians have lost their lives. This tells us how important defense measures are. Hello and welcome to the special video of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha, and in today's episode we will be talking about Pokhran 2, India's journey to nuclear power. And this topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 2, that is International Relations, and also General Studies paper 3, that is Indigenization of Technology. And this also tells us about India's history, how India became a nuclear state. So let us begin and see what all we will be covering in today's episode. As this will be the 27th anniversary of Pokhran 2, we will be covering the background of India's nuclear journey, what was the reason that India pursuit of the nuclear weapons, then about Pokhran 1 and then about Pokhran 2, India's nuclear doctrine, India's current nuclear capability, and then various international treaties about nuclear weapons, and then about UPSC PYQs, and in the end a practice question. So let us begin. So first and foremost, the 11th May 2025 will mark the 27th anniversary of Pokhran 2, and this was when India successfully conducted nuclear bomb tests, a defining moment in its journey to become a nuclear power. So before the Pokhran 2, India was not a nuclear power, and after India successfully tested the nuclear bombs in the Pokhran test range of Rajasthan, India got a tag of the nuclear state. Then 11th May is also celebrated as the National Technology Day, and this is to honor the India's scientists, engineering marvels, and how with time it has become a strength of India's economy and has helped India to achieve such a great stature in the on the global level in today's time. Now, background of India's nuclear journey. So how it all originated? So it was in the year 1945 when India was on the verge of getting independence. The renowned physicist Homi J. Bhabha lobbied for the establishment of TIFR, that is Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay, and this was dedicated to the nuclear physics research, because before this India did not had any institute or any research institute where the nuclear research can be done for the advancement of India's nuclear program. TIFR became India's first research institute which was dedicated to the study of nuclear physics. Then post-independence, it means after 1947, Homi J. Bhabha convinced the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru about the importance of nuclear energy, and in the year 1954, the Department of Atomic Energy was founded in India, and the director of the Department of Atomic Energy became Homi Bhabha. And this was the time when the advancement of nuclear energy and the advancement of nuclear study in India was taking off. Now, reasons for India's pursuit of nuclear weapons. Why India thought that it also needs to have the nuclear weapons of its own. So India's pursuit of nuclear weapons was motivated by concerns over its sovereignty and security, and especially with regard to the neighbors that India has, that is in the name of Pakistan, China, and in recent terms, even if you see that Nepal and Bangladesh are also having very, very difficult border situations, and Myanmar in itself is a very unstable state. So looking at that point of time, looking at the India's security concerns, it was important for India to become a nuclear state. Then the 1962 Sino-India War and China's nuclear test in the year 1964 also heightened the tension within India, and it was thought that now it became all the more important for India to have its own nuclear bomb. Then the war with Pakistan in the year 1965 added on to the problems with Chinese support, further emphasized the need for self-sufficiency in defense capabilities. And having the self-sufficiency in defense capabilities was all the more important for India, because the security issue and also with regard to the safety of its people and having a very volatile neighbors. So having its own and self-sufficient nuclear power and nuclear capabilities, the need was increasing with time. Now let us talk about Pokhran 1. So by the time of 1970s, India was capable of conducting a nuclear bomb test of its own. Then Pokhran 1 was India's first nuclear bomb test, which was conducted on 18th of May 1974 at the Pokhran test range in Rajasthan. It was codenamed Smiling Buddha. So the code name for Pokhran 1 nuclear test was Smiling Buddha, and officially it was described as a peaceful nuclear explosion with few military implications. So the test was done only for its testing, and it was not done to harm anyone. So Pokhran 1, the code name was Smiling Buddha. Then what was the implications of the test? So it was that the test faced near universal condemnation and significant sanctions, especially from US and Canada. Even though India was able to do its own testing, but the problem was that after the testing was done, so the international community was not happy, and the sanctions came from many countries, like for example the United States and Canada. It hindered India's progress in nuclear technology and slowed down its nuclear journey, because the international community's sanctions was playing a major role, and it worked with regard to slowing down of India's progress. Then domestic political instability was also there, as the emergency in the year 1975 and opposition to nuclear weapons also hindered India's progress in moving forward with regards to attaining self-sufficiency in nuclear capabilities. Now what happened after Pokhran 1? So during the time of 1980s, it saw a resurgence of interest in nuclear weapons development due to Pakistan's progress. Now at this point of time, China had the nuclear weapons, and Pakistan was also very aggressively moving towards having their own nuclear weapons. So during the time of 1980s, India's interest again developed, and the movement towards having its own nuclear weapon started to speed up. Then India increased funding for its missile program and expanded its plutonium stockpiles, which is one of the required materials with regards to making of the nuclear bombs. Now about Pokhran 2. So Pokhran 2 refers to a sequence of 5 nuclear test explosions. So in one span, 5 nuclear test explosions took place under Pokhran 2. And this was conducted between 11th of May to 13th of May, and the year is 1998, and it was in Rajasthan Pokhran range. And the code name was Operation Shakti. Pokhran 1 was Smiling Buddha, and Pokhran 2 was Operation Shakti. This event marked India's second successful attempt. First successful attempt was Pokhran 1, and this was the second successful attempt. Now, what was the significance of Pokhran 2? So, Pokhran 2 cemented India's status as a nuclear power, and while on the other hand, Pakistan was also very, very aggressive with regard to its nuclear status. China had already achieved the status, and now when India also got the tag of a nuclear state, at that point of time, all over the world, it was not many states which had the tag of the nuclear nations, but the international community condemned this step of India, and they were not happy with India conducting the nuclear test. It demonstrated India's ability to possess and deploy nuclear weapons, thus enhancing its deterrence capabilities. Even though India achieved the nuclear status or the nuclear bomb status or the nuclear capabilities, but still India was not a country which would use nuclear bomb on the first go. The Indian government at that point of time was led by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and he officially declared itself as a state possessing nuclear weapons following the successful testing of Pokhran 2. Now about the implications of its. Now with the successful testing of nuclear bomb in the year 1998, it also invited sanctions from countries like the US or the Canada, and the contamination was far from universal like in the year 1974. So the international community was not very happy with regard to the nuclear test. Then in context of India's fast growing economy and market potential, India was able to stand its ground and cement its status as a dominant nation state, and with each passing year India was gaining a global stature also. Now India's nuclear doctrine. Now in the year 2003, India also came out with its nuclear doctrine, and that clearly elaborated the no first use policy. Now no first use policy means that India will not use the nuclear weapons first. Like for example, imagine if two countries are at war, 1 and 2, and India will not use the nuclear bombs first. So that will be India's no first use policy. And the nuclear doctrine also talks about building and maintaining a credible minimum deterrent, then a posture of no first use nuclear weapons. No first use nuclear weapons will only be used in retaliation against a nuclear attack on Indian territory or on Indian forces anywhere. So if the other state does a nuclear attack on Indian territory or on Indian forces, then in retaliation only India will use the nuclear capability. Nuclear retaliation to a first strike will be massive and designated to inflict unacceptable damage. So even though first no use policy India follows, but if other country will use the nuclear capabilities or the nuclear power, then India in retaliation can use the nuclear power. Then nuclear retaliatory attacks can only be authorized by the civilian political leadership. So civilian political leadership needs to be there who can authorize the use of the nuclear retaliation. And this would be done through the Nuclear Command Authority. Then no use of nuclear weapon against non-nuclear weapon states. So if there are two states, state number 1 and state number 2, and state number 1 does not have a nuclear weapons, then India will also not use the nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear weapon state. In the event of a major attack against India or Indian forces anywhere, or by biological or chemical weapons, India will retain the option of retaliating with nuclear weapons. So if any kind of biological or chemical weapons are used by any other state, so India will have the option of retaliating with the nuclear capabilities. Then the continuance of strict control on export of missile and nuclear related materials and technologies, participation in the fissile material cutoff treaty negotiations, and continued observance of the moratorium on nuclear test. Even though India does not support war or India does not support violence, but if any other country will attack on India or in any other country uses unfair means against India, then India stands or India has the right to respond. Now India's nuclear doctrine also talked about continued commitment to the goal of a nuclear weapon free world. Even though India has the nuclear capabilities, but India supports peace, India stands with peace, India stands with non-violence, and India talks about having a nuclear weapon free world. The use of nuclear weapon are not promoted, though global, verifiable and non-discriminatory nuclear disarmament. Now about India's current nuclear capabilities. So even though India has achieved an operational nuclear triad, and that is in the form of launch of nuclear weapons from land, air and sea. So this triad to be able to launch the nuclear weapons from 3 phases, that is land, air and sea. and India is capable in all three. Then the triad delivery systems include Agni, Prithvi and K-series ballistic missiles, fighter aircraft and nuclear submarines. Now if we talk about the expanding arsenal or the nuclear warheads, then all over the world if we will see, then the highest nuclear warheads is with Russia. This goes on to around 4,500. Then second comes US around 4,000. Then comes China. So Russia and US stands at the top, and the difference between Russia and US and any other country is a very, very big difference. Then first is Russia, second is US, then comes China, France, UK, and then there is India, and then there is Pakistan. So even though India and Pakistan has almost, you can say, have a similar number of nuclear warheads, but when we talk about the capabilities, the army capabilities, the air force capabilities or the navy capabilities, then India stands way ahead as compared to Pakistan, be it on the economy ground, be it on the arms and ammunition grounds, be it on the defense manufacturing ground. India has surpassed way ahead than Pakistan. Now let's talk about India's status on various international treaties about nuclear weapons. So first and foremost comes the NPT, that is the Non-Proliferation Treaty of the year 1968. So this talks about that India is not a signatory of the NPT. So India is not a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty and it declined to accede to the NPT. So this talks about the concern that treaties discriminatory nature and less of reciprocal obligations from nuclear weapon states. And this was the reason that because of the lack of reciprocity from other countries, India has not signed the NPT. Then comes the CTBT, that is the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. So India has not signed the CTBT as it is a strong advocate for a time-bound disarmament commitment from nuclear weapon state and may use lack of commitment. So India has not signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty and the Non-Proliferation Treaty also. Then the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. It entered into force in the year 2021 and India is not a member of this treaty also. One of the major reason being that the reciprocal behavior was not shown by the developed nuclear capable countries. Then the Nuclear Suppliers Group, that is NSG. So India is also not a member of the NSG. Then comes the Wassenaar Arrangement. Now India is a member of the Wassenaar Arrangement and joined it in the year 2017 and became its 42nd partnering state. And this talks about voluntary export control regime. So the export of the biological or chemical weapons or the export of biological and chemical weapons must not be promoted. So basically you need to know that India is not a member of the NSG, India is not a member of NPT, India is not a member of CTBT, India is not a member of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. So this was about the Pokhran 2 and the 27th anniversary of the Pokhran 2 tests. Now the question have been asked with regards to the nuclear weapons or the nuclear technologies in the UPSC. So let us first of all look at the UPSC previous year question. So first is, consider the following countries. This was of the year 2015. China, France, India, Israel, Pakistan. And the question asked, which among above are nuclear weapons states as recognized by the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, commonly known as Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty? 1 and 2 only, 1, 3, 4 and 5 only, 2, 4 and 5 only, or 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Coming on to the next, so that this is again a next PYQ. Which is or are the consequences of a country becoming the member of the Nuclear Supplier Group, that is NSG? First, it will have access to the latest and most efficient nuclear technologies. Second, it automatically becomes a member of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So this was again a PYQ. And now in the end, a practice question, and like always, you people need to tell me the answer in the comments below. So the question is, India is a signatory to which of the following international treaties? Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons or Wassenaar Arrangement? As we have done this in the video, so I expect you to give me the right answer. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.